so let's move to DoubleClick then. So you co-founded that with Dwight Merriman.
Yep.
Is that right? And so can you tell that kind of story? How did you identify the opportunity and, get it started? Or?
So I'd always spent my life in R&D, trying to create up new products. And so we took time off. We both left our jobs and spent 6 months brainstorming product ideas.
Mm-hmm.
We were very convinced the internet
This
was
is
going
like
to be
94?
95.
95, okay.
So beginning 95. And we knew the internet was going to be big. To us, it was just overwhelmingly compelling, right? I mean, everyone can be connected, access to any information in the world for free.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah.
So we knew the internet was going to be big. So then we just trying to figure out, how are people going to make money on the internet? What's the infrastructure going to look like? And so we, brainstormed a bunch of products. One of them was a job board.
Mm-hmm. Monster or something. Yeah.
Exactly. And we I kind of made a fundamental mistake. I went and talked to a bunch of HR people and said, presented the proposition to them. How would you like this?
Mm-hmm.
Something on the internet to post your jobs? And they all looked at me, like, why would I ever post my job on the internet?
Mm-hmm.
There's no one there. Got to be at the newspapers.
Yeah. So when you said it, sorry, that's interesting. It's a fundamental mistake. So you think that in general, it's a bad idea to talk to, like when you're doing something that is going to be, sort of very forward-looking, that it's a bad idea to go and interview kind of current potential customers? Yeah,
I mean, you got to ask, I think, the right question. And the right question isn't, would you want to post your job on the internet? It's, how would you like to post your job to, any available candidate, instantly, okay. And to get only qualified candidates for,
and that they'll say yes to, and then you from there realize, okay, well, the internet's going to allow them to do that.
Yes. And there's a famous story about the microwave oven, right? I mean,
can you tell? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just one of those, the microwave oven when probably shouldn't tell it because I don't know the whole story, but it was basically, no one even envisioned, why would I want to boil a cup of water?
Well, like there's famous with
30 seconds.
With Sony, like he famously, the founder never did focus groups. When they asked people they wanted a Walkman, they're like, why do I want to carry a stereo around? But then you actually see people using it, and you invent all these new use cases. And
I think focus groups are not very accurate.
Yeah.
So you got to really look. To me, you got to look at everything evolves around: is there a problem, and does that technology solve that problem most efficiently?
Yeah.
That's as simple as business gets, and that's all it is. And if you look at that, then things become real clear.
So you were brainstorming ideas, you thought about the job board thing, you sort of focus grouped that, and it came out negative and you dismissed it. And then what else were you thinking about?
Well, we predicted porn was going to be big. That was a real surprise.
Yeah,
but didn't think mom and dad would be too proud of that. And then we looked at how are people going to make money? And it was either going to be subscriptions. I mean, the original model was actually a very much like CompuServe, if you remember what they did, sure. Which is where you had...
You paid
or
for
about
you paid for access or something, no?
Yeah, it was you bought one subscription, and then the content partners,
like cable today in a lot of ways, or something.
Yes.
Like cable TV.
So they shared in how much you actually used their content,
Okay.
And our belief was that it was going to be millions of websites, that things like AOL. Sorry, the first version of AOL. Everything was tied.
So you'd pay $30 a month, and then depending on how much you visited X website, they'd get some piece of the action or something.
Exactly. And so that's what we were pursuing. It was going to be a network. We'd have thousands of websites. And then Dwight, we started looking, most advertising has been a bigger driver, most media. And Dwight said, why don't we just do that for advertising? Like, boom.
And so there was no internet advertising at the time?
I mean, there might have been somebody, but it was so nascent. Okay. There was definitely no dynamic advertising of dynamically targeted advertising.
Yeah.
That was our big breakthrough. Is that we were both software guys, and I went and started reading Nash's book on direct response. I read all the theory of how advertising works, and as I'm reading this, turning the page, I'm going, we can do all that. Mm-hmm. This is no longer theory. Things like reach and frequency and targeting that they dream about doing, mm-hmm. We can do it.
Mm-hmm. And so then so you had this idea, like what'd you do next? Like, did you go raise money? Did you hire people? How'd you go to market? Like.
I had done reasonably well in my first company, so it gave us some breathing room. We were working out of our basement in Atlanta. But I remember that night when we literally had been spending 6 months looking for ideas, came up with 100 of them. I went upstairs and I told my wife Nancy, I said, the search is over. Tomorrow we start the business. Everything just clicked. And then we built the first prototype in the basement. We were running targeted ads out of our basement.
Targeted ad server in your basement.
Yeah. And it was so sweet. I'd go down there, 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was running. And I'm like, this cash register is running, and there's no people.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful thing.